Okay, great opportunity for the WNBA, right? Because it's like an 80-20 issue. Most Americans don't believe that boys should play against the girls. And you're talking about a women's sport league. That's what you're talking about. Women's basketball. If you let the biological men play, you end up with the movie Juwanna Mann or alternatively Lady Ballers. A 14-year-old high school freshman boys starting varsity player at any decent public school in America would torch these ladies. That is just a reality. Okay, that is not sexist. That is called reality. 14-year-old boys all over America are dunking. Okay, the WNBA with biological men would just be called the NBA, and the ladies would be called ushers, or at best refs.
A teenage girl walked into a WNBA arena carrying a simple sign supporting Sophie Cunningham. By halftime, she was reportedly in tears, and the person accused of confronting her was not an angry fan, a player, or even arena security. It was a Seattle Storm co-owner.
Again, that's just talking about who actively tunes in to watch the games, who is showing up to be there in person watching a game. It really falls into, I think, those two categories. But the WNBA seems to forget about the dads and their young daughters and the families that want to show up because their little girls play basketball and they aspire to be just like Caitlin Clark. The WNBA forgets about them, and that's been made all the more evident after this past week when you had a co-owner of the Seattle Storm cursing out 16-year-old girls.
Now the WNBA has stepped in, handed down a fine, and suspended that owner from 5 home games. But instead of ending the controversy, the punishment has created an even bigger question. Was 5 games really enough? Because once you hear what these young fans say happened inside Climate Pledge Arena.
So we know this Seattle situation was supposed to have been smooth. It was supposed to have been a rally. Sophie Cunningham was supposed to go out there and ball out, which she did. Now, we do know Indiana Fever fans, and I don't want to just label these fans as Indiana Fever fans, so I'm going to call them WNBA fans, held a rally for anti-trans. Now, during this rally, nothing happened. It was calm. But the Seattle Storm co-owner, who has now been suspended, by the way, we're going to talk about that, made it her business to make sure these young ladies have a very, very tough night that night. And that's exactly what she did.
The controversy began before the Indiana Fever even arrived in Seattle. Sophie Cunningham had recently spoken publicly about protecting women and young girls in sport. She said she believed female athletes should not have to compete against biological men, framing her position around fairness, safety, and the importance of protecting women's competition. Cunningham also made it clear that she did not hate anyone. She said there was room to love everyone, but she would not abandon her beliefs simply because people criticized her.
What's Sophie's response in all of this? Because again, she's indirectly implicated in all of it because it goes back to her, or at least the left is claiming that it does, because those little girls who showed up in their bigoted ways, they were there to support Sophie. So what has Sophie said? Well, unsurprisingly, she's quadrupled down because she's so cool and because the hate, it just can't really break her. And she torched the Seattle Storm co-owner. This was her tweet she put out. She said, "I truly believe there is a safe space and love for everybody," in all caps. Biological girls, biological boys, trans women, and trans men. Everyone is welcome at my table. You can disagree and still be kind. Bravo to those young girls for standing up for what they believe. You'll be hearing from me soon. Yay for gifts. Truly embarrassing of the co-owner. Unfortunately shows the type of leader that she is.
That answer immediately became one of the biggest debates surrounding the WNBA. Some fans praised Cunningham for saying what she believed. Others strongly disagreed with her. But Sophie refused to retreat. When reporters gave her another opportunity to soften her position, she stood by it. She said she knew anything she said would attract both support and anger, but she was confident in who she was and would continue to be herself.
I always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children, and that's little girls who are also involved in that category. And so I stand on what I said, and I always believe that.
Yeah. Do you see your advocacy on that, like, taking any form going forward?
You know, I don't know. I'm not a very political person, but I do have beliefs. I have morals, and I'll always stand on those and be true to who I am. And I think people are going to take it how they want to take it, but I've never even really said anything about that. And so when it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports weren't protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so I think in the future, it's just really important to protect.
And supporters gathered outside Climate Pledge Arena. Some carried signs supporting Cunningham and her comments about women's sport. 2 teenage girls later entered the arena with a sign that reportedly read, "Thank you, Sophie, for speaking up for girls." According to the girls, they were not screaming at players. They were not insulting anyone. They were not blocking anyone's view or trying to stop the game. They said they were sitting courtside, holding their sign and cheering for both teams.
Tell me what happened when this woman approached you.
Well, we were just sitting there with our signs that said, like, we love Sophie, like, thank you, Sophie, for speaking up. And so we were holding on, just watching the game. Again, like, we were being super great. We hadn't said anything to anyone else. We were being super respectful. We were just holding our signs and cheering for both teams. And this lady, older lady, comes up to us. And at first I think she's going to be nice. And then she asked, like, what are you guys doing? Something like that. And then it was like, Jesus loves everyone. That's what she told us. And I was like, oh, I know. Like, I'm religious. Like, I know. Like, I know.
Nice.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, I hope Jesus can forgive you for what sin you've done. And like something like that. And then she told us that we were effing insane. And that we
And she's like, and she went like insane.
Yeah.
She was like, you better stop this.
And stop this. Yeah.
And
for you guys
I
to
hope
come
God
here
can
and
save
pull
you.
this. Yeah.
She said, for you to come here and pull this
Yeah.
She said the word? Yeah. Did she say effing insane or
No, she said the word, yeah.
Oh
she said
God.
the word.
But during the game, an older woman approached them. At first, the girls believed she was coming over to speak with them calmly. Instead, they say the conversation quickly became confrontational. According to their account, the woman asked what they were doing and allegedly continued. The girls claim more serious.
I came over, you were in tears.
Yeah, I've never been yelled at like that. I mean, I've had people hate on me on the internet, but like it doesn't really affect me as much because it's just people online. But that just took me by surprise because I thought she was gonna be nice, and then she started like screaming at us and cussing at us. So yeah.
And so you said she walked away, and we thought that was kind of it. But she mentioned something to you about like working for the team, or
there was another lady that like told us like we were able to have our opinions, but we needed to not be political about it. And I tried to explain to her I wasn't trying to be political. I was just trying to support Sophie and support the other teams.
And you were just sitting there watching.
Yeah, we hadn't
You were cheering for
interacted with
both
anyone
sides.
except for like saying excuse me.
Yeah.
The woman was identified in the supplied reports as Celeste Keaton, a minority co-owner of the Seattle Storm. That detail changed everything. This was no longer being described as a disagreement between 2 groups of fans. A member of team ownership was now being accused of confronting teenage customers over a sign supporting a player from the visiting team. The fans also claimed they experienced further hostility during the evening. Reports said people around them booed, criticized the sign, and told them to put it away. But the central issue remained the alleged involvement of a Storm co-owner, because team owners are not ordinary spectators. They represent the organization. They hold power inside the building. And fans should not have to wonder whether peacefully supporting the visiting team will lead to a personal confrontation with someone connected to ownership. As interviews with the teenagers began circulating online, the backlash exploded. People who agreed with Cunningham were furious. But even some people who disagreed with her comments argued that an owner should never approach teenage fans in that manner. The debate shifted. It was the Storm eventually 5 games is not nothing. The WNBA clearly believed the incident was serious enough to require official punishment, but many fans immediately argued that the penalty was too light. This was not a player losing control during the heat of competition. It was not a coach arguing with an official. It was a member of ownership allegedly using profanity while confronting teenage fans. But the incident has strengthened the connection between Sophie and the supporters, who believe she is speaking for them. Reports in the supplied material said Cunningham planned to send the 2 girls gifts after learning what happened. That gesture matters because the teenagers said Sophie's willingness to speak publicly made them feel less alone. Cunningham has already said she expects criticism. She knows people will interpret her comments differently. But she has also made it clear that she is not going to become a softer, quieter version of herself simply to avoid controversy. And now her supporters may feel exactly the same way. That is why the story is not going away simply because the WNBA announced a suspension. The league acted, but the punishment has not settled the argument. Seattle apologized, but major questions remain about how the situation was allowed to escalate. And a teenage fan who entered the building, excited to support Sophie Cunningham, reportedly spent part of the game crying after being confronted by a powerful adult connected to the home team. The WNBA says everyone deserves to feel welcome. Now fans are asking whether that promise applies equally to everyone, including people whose signs express an opinion the home organization strongly disagrees with. Because the biggest issue is no longer the message written on the sign. It is what allegedly happened to the people holding it. And unless the league can convince fans that 5 games represents real accountability, this punishment may look less like the end of the controversy and more like an attempt to make an uncomfortable headline disappear. So was the WNBA's punishment strong enough? Or should a team owner accused of cursing at teenage fans face much more serious consequences? Let me know what you think in the comments.
This person online said, Sophie Cunningham is Riley Gaines 2.0. Mind you, this has nearly 4 million views at this point. Sophie Cunningham is Riley Gaines 2.0, 10 times more bigoted and transphobic, which I take offense to, by the way. Nobody is more transphobic than me, because when they say transphobic, it just really means attached to reality. Again, interchangeable. 10 times more bigoted and transphobic despite looking like an actual trans herself. Isn't it so funny when they do this?
Sophie Cunningham built her Repus on a basketball court. She talks, she competes, she hits big shots, and she never seems interested in shrinking herself to make anybody else comfortable.
Sophie Cunningham set the internet on fire last week by saying fairly non-controversial things, but it's only controversial to the peanut allergy table. That's it. It's only controversial to the players in the WNBA and the peanut allergy WNBA. It's only controversial to them. Most Americans, most people, they agree on this issue. Sophie Cunningham went viral last week for saying that, and she's getting support. Brandy Cruz says, join me, Women Are Reals, Known Heretic, and female athletes for a rally to thank Sophie Cunningham for her bravery. Tomorrow, ahead of the Storm Fever game at 5 p.m. outside Climate Pledge Arena, wear your XXXY athletics gear if you have it. Support Sophie Cunningham, a pre-game fan rally.
But in 2026, the Indiana Fever Guard stepped into a completely different spotlight. No jersey, no basketball, no packed arena. Just Sophie Cunningham, a camera in the beaches of Captiva Island, Florida, for her first appearance in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. And this was not simply a WNBA player posing for a famous magazine. For Cunningham, the shoot became a statement about confidence, strength, and what an athlete can look like away from the court. So let me ask you this. Do you think more WNBA players should get opportunities like this? Comment Y for yes. Just type the letter Y below. Because Sophie Cunningham's SI swimsuit debut shows how quickly the image of a women's basketball star is changing. The shoot was photographed by Catherine Gogan at South Seas Resort on Captiva Island. Cunningham appeared in the 2026 issue alongside other athletes, including WNBA star Nafisa Collier and champion sprinter Melissa Jefferson Wooden. Setting looked calm, warm, and effortless in the finished pictures. But the reality behind the shoot was very different. Cunningham later revealed that the weather was unusually cold and rainy. While she posed near the water in swimwear, members of the crew were bundled up in coats, hats, and hand warmers. Photographs look relaxed, but Cunningham was working through conditions that were anything but comfortable. Cunningham entered the WNBA as the 13th overall pick in the 2019 draft. She began her career with the Phoenix Mercury before being traded to Indiana in 2025. She quickly became a favorite among Fever fans because of her shooting, physical style, and outspoken personality. During the 2025 regular season, she shot 43.2% from three-point range, placing her among the league's most dangerous outside shooters. But her season ended early after she suffered a right MCL tear against the Connecticut Sun. That injury could have made the following months entirely about recovery and uncertainty. Instead, Cunningham's 2026 story became about returning in more ways than one. She worked her way back onto the basketball court. She prepared for a role as a studio analyst, and she made her first appearance in one of the most recognized magazine issues in American popular culture. That is why the timing of this feature matters. Fans normally see Cunningham in competition mode. Her hair is tied back. She is fighting through screens, chasing shooters, and arguing her case after a whistle. Sports Illustrated presented a different side of her without pretending the athlete did not exist. Her height, shoulders, and physical strength were not hidden. They became part of the story. Cunningham has spoken honestly about being 6'1" and broad-shouldered. Those traits are a major advantage in basketball, but she admitted they can create frustration in everyday life when clothing does not fit properly or she feels taller than everyone around her. That is a feeling many athletes understand. The body that creates confidence in competition can sometimes create insecurity away from it. But Cunningham said the SI swimsuit experience made her feel empowered, confident, and comfortable in her own skin. To View Zero, that message gives the feature more meaning than a collection of beach photographs. It is easy to say people should feel confident. It is harder when the world constantly comments on how athletes look, dress, and carry themselves. Women in professional sports face an especially difficult balance. They are expected to be tough, but not too aggressive, confident, but not too loud, stylish, but not distracting, powerful, but still judged by standards that have nothing to do with performance. Sophie Cunningham has never seemed interested in following those rules. Her personality has helped make her one of the most recognizable players on the Fever. Some fans love her. Some opponents probably cannot stand her, but almost everyone notices her. The SI swimsuit feature takes that same energy and places it in a new setting. She is not apologizing for being tall. She is not hiding the strength that helped her reach the WNBA. And she is not acting as though an athlete must choose between being competitive and embracing fashion, beauty, or media opportunities. She can take a hard defensive assignment one night and become the subject of a Sports Illustrated shoot the next. That crossover also matters for the WNBA. Women's basketball is no longer limited to highlights and box scores. Players are becoming broadcasters, podcasters, business owners, fashion figures, and entertainment personalities. The league benefits when its athletes reach audiences who may never have watched a full WNBA game. A Sports Illustrated reader may discover Cunningham through the gallery, learn that she plays for Indiana, and then become curious about the Fever. A basketball fan may arrive for Sophie and discover Catherine Gauguin's work or the broader 2026 issue. That exchange expands the audience without asking Cunningham to become somebody else. And perhaps that is the biggest reason this debut stands out. The photographs are polished, but the story behind them is still unmistakably Sophie Cunningham. The weather was difficult, the setting was unfamiliar, the spotlight was different, but the confidence, toughness, and willingness to accept a new challenge were exactly the same. Cunningham described her athletic build as a superpower on the court. On Captiva Island, that superpower followed her directly onto the beach. Now the question is, what comes next? Could this open the door for more WNBA players to cross into major lifestyle and entertainment platforms? And as women's basketball continues growing, will moments like this become just as important to building stars as what happens during the games? Sophie Cunningham's 2026 SI swimsuit debut was a first for her, but it may also be another sign that WNBA players are no longer being placed inside one box. They are athletes. They are personalities. They are brands. And in Sophie Cunningham's case, whether she is standing behind the three-point line or in front of Catherine Gauguin's camera, she knows exactly how to command attention.